Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. A watch I've reviewed many times. It's a personal favorite of mine, and every time it shows up, I want to reintroduce it to fans of the channel who may have joined more recently and haven't explored my back catalog. This is a 2012 launch. It's known as the Zenith Pilot Doublematic. It's from the El Primero chronograph series, and it is an incredible opportunity for someone who wants a wealth of complications from one of the great watchmaking manufacturers in the business. Every time I review this, I say it's too big for my wrist, but I come a little bit closer to deciding that maybe I should give it a second chance. Why don't we find out? It's a big watch in stainless steel, 45 millimeters in diameter, 15.7 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 52.7 millimeters. There's a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now the strap has not been broken in. You can see how stiff and flat it is. It's a very high-grade cut of leather, and they always start out stiff that way. But as it breaks in, it will become more flexible. Just keep in mind, throwing it on my wrist here, I have to pull it straight down because it is so stiff, which is compressing my wrist, which is creating the impression of a bigger watch. Now, here's your down the barrel shot. You can see, especially with the strap pulling my wrist in, the lugs are very close to the edge. Over the top, you can see they're even a little bit beyond, but again, I'm compressing my wrist, and this angle always exaggerates the width of a watch. I would not describe it as a super thick watch, but nor would I suggest it'll fit underneath a tight dress cuff, more like a jacket sleeve. Taking a look at it from a distance now, loosening up the strap a little bit to simulate how it would be broken in, I do feel like there's something to be said for maybe trying this watch. If your wrist is my size, 16 centimeters circumference, it's a big style, but it's a lot of watch, and it's a lot of display, and you've got to put all those complications somewhere. I'm not sure it could have been smaller, so it's not fatuously huge like some stuff we've seen in the past from Audemars Piguet and Hublot. This is a purposefully large watch. Now, is it a pilot's watch? Well, technically it was launched as the Pilot Doublematic. I'm not sure I would describe this as a pilot's watch. It certainly has functions that could be useful to a pilot, but also to non-pilots. So let's take a look at what it has. First of all, case steel, remarkably boxed and cambered sapphire to look like a vintage plexi. We have 50-meter water resistance with push-down crowns, so better than dress watch, but don't swim with it. We've got chronograph pushers. We've got the Zenith star on the crown. They think of everything. There's a little kerf underneath the crown in the case flank or in the case back, so you can dig your nail in. The lugs have a little bit of a bevel profile, and then their hoods are satin finished. The bezel has several facets, one of which is vertical, and then the next one is conical and angled. You can see there are several different crowns with several different functions, including coaxial pushers. We'll go into what all that is about. And then on the reverse side, you can see it is called Doublematic in that lovely mid-century style font with the Zenith star. Rolling back now. By the way, Zenith reference numbers for decades have included the movement. So you see how that's the 4046? There it is right there. A little fact about Zenith watches that always makes it easy to figure out what you're getting. One cool feature about Zenith is that its straps have, for over a decade now, included a rubberized lining. So aviator straps typically are going to be calfskin with a contrasting stitch. Zenith goes one better. This is a very, very dark brown, large rectangular scale, symmetrical scale alligator leather. This leather is generally considered to be the most expensive standard cut of the animal, so they didn't cheap out here. They didn't go with aviator's calfskin, even though it would have fit the pilot image, but it gets better since not only do we get upscale alligator, but on the bottom, we don't have calfskin at all. We have a rubber inlay that protects the leather from the moisture, heat, sweat, and grit of the wrist. So all that heat, sweat, and grit, it's not going to age the strap, and you get this wonderfully supple feel against the wrist. We've got a double folding deploying clasp. You can see the Zenith logo. We have satination and polish inside. We've got spring-loaded ceramic pin snaps, so the metal can never wear them down. That will always be a snappy action. And you can see that this is twin triggers, so you have to press both of them for it to pop open. Security for a heavy watch when it's on your wrist. Taking a look now at all of these functions. Let's work from the outside in. First, world time. The way this works, I'll simplify it. Let's just set to 5 o'clock, right? Okay, now, your city of reference will be up at 12 o'clock. Easy to remember, your city of reference is not the upside down one, it's the right side up one. So I am in Philadelphia, my time zone is US Eastern, and my reference city is New York. So I can see that it is 5 in New York, but I can see from this bicolor 24-hour reference ring, you can see the silver portion is roughly where it's day, the black portion is roughly where it's night, and I could see it is 1700 in New York, so that is 5 p.m. specifically. 5 a.m. is going to be in Bangkok, so the opposite side of the world is always exactly 12 hours away. And that's how you can easily tell. The way you do this is you just look at the hour adjacent to the city. Sydney, it's 8 a.m. I can see in Cairo, it is 12 midnight. I can see in the Azores, it's 9 o'clock. I can see in Karachi, it's 3 in the morning. Very simple. And then to change my reference city, all I do is reset the reference city up at the top. Now, of course, there are more than 24 time zones in the world, but we are dealing with the 24 primary time zones. But what if I want to move the hour itself? Well, what I do is I pull the crown out. This is an El Primero, a traditional one, so the intermediate crown position sets the time. Now, as I move my local time and I change my local time, you can see this ring, it rotates in a counterclockwise direction. So it'll adjust everything in sync. There you can see the double-digit date with flush discs rolling through the date change. And yes, there are flush discs. So a grand date with flush discs, that's always a feather in the cap of those who use double-digit discs, double-digit dates. Sometimes they're stepped and staggered. Not here. They're in the same plane. Now I can operate a quick set for that double-digit date. It does not have hacking, as that's not a traditional feature of El Primeros, but it does have something that's very, very cool. We have a little crown right here that allows me to set and wind the alarm. So I can also disarm the alarm using that coaxial pusher inside this crown. So we're going to try to line this all up. Now I'm going to turn the alarm on. Notice the power reserve changes color and geometry as it depletes. I can turn the alarm on or off. So if I don't want the alarm waking me up, but I want to have it charged and ready to use, I can turn it off. And as the alarm discharges, there's nothing to see, it's all on the dial side. But as the alarm discharges, turns red, and eventually gives you a critical warning. Disarm. Now, if I wish, I can rewind the watch using this crown. So arm, disarm, set, and wind using that crown and its pusher. That's how that works. We've got an El Primero chronograph, so the 36,000 vibration per hour automatic chronograph launched in 1969 when it was the world's first integrated automatic high beat chronograph. It beats 10 times per second rather than 8, 6, or 5. It has a 50-hour bidirectional winding automatic power reserve. You can see that this variant of it has 41 joules. It uses a combination of a column wheel and a lateral clutch. The column wheel feel on a traditional El Primero, one of the best feeling in the business. The finishing is primarily industrial, but handsomely executed and quite attractive, primarily because the El Primero shows you so much of the works. An automatic chronograph, especially with a vertical clutch, gives you almost nothing to see, whereas here the winding bridge is really small and partially skeletonized. You can see every part of the chronograph mechanism, from the clutch to the column wheel, the levers, horns. You could see the minute jumper, you can see the reset hammers, it's all there. It's a really good looking movement. And then of course 36,000 vibrations per hour, meaning it can resolve time increments as small as 1/10 of a second, which is why you could see that this chronograph second sweep is a little bit smoother than something with a lower beat rate. It has instantaneous jumping minutes, and that column wheel feels a little piece of heaven. By the way, fully loomed, and the numerals on the dial are solid applied three-dimensional blocks of loom, an unusual and exquisite refinement on a watch that is full of surprises. You can see the hands at center have a lovely anthracite brushed finish to make everything on this pilot-inspired watch anti-glare and easier to read in a cockpit. One of my favorite watches of all time. If you've got the wrist for it, go to town. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.